Hi guys, my name is Mayank and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I just wanted to take a look back at 2021 and see what are the lessons that I learned this year. I know it was a difficult year for most of us because of the effects of pandemic still coming up, but there were a few lessons in it and I just wanted to share it with all of you so that any one of you can probably learn from it and maybe apply it going forward in 2022. So let's start with the lessons. So the first lesson that I learned this year was record everything that you love. I think this was a lesson which was always looming around me, but I never really took a look at it seriously, and I realized that there are a lot of things that we do every day probably that we enjoy doing, and recording those is probably a great way to ensure that you are actually doing the stuff that you love. For example, if you are mindlessly browsing through Instagram and social media, would you like to record that and probably save it for future? No, you won't want to know that on a Sunday at 12 p.m. You were browsing through Instagram and wasting your time. But if you were to maybe do something that you actually love, maybe watch a movie or spend time with your family, or maybe play a game which you actually love doing, so you would want to record that. So it ensures that you do the things that you love, and it also ensures that you will look back at your life and not regret anything. The second lesson that I want to share is that inspiration is perishable. This was a lesson which I learned while looking at some of the podcasts of Naval Ravikant and also reading his book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Why he says this is because once you get inspired, once you get any idea, you need to take an action. You might not need to do everything. Like if I get an idea about creating a video, it's not important that I create a video at that moment itself, but it is important that I take at least some action towards it. And the first simple action that you can do is write it down somewhere. So just simply taking an action on your inspiration immediately ensures that you don't lose out on it, because if you lose it once, it will be very difficult for you to bring that inspiration back and create something valuable. The third lesson that I want to share is always have something to look back at. Now this is an extension of point number one, where I shared that you should record all that you love. What I want to say is that when you are having any kind of time where the work that you do is under your control, it is very important to kind of think what you are doing with it, because when we are working under someone else's control, they really determine what we are going to do. Like if I work somewhere, my manager is going to decide what I will do during that time. But if I have free time and if I am just not having any work, what I do at that point of time is decided by myself. I myself decide what I will do. If I do something that I don't genuinely love, I may have regrets at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or at the end of the month. So if a weekend just goes by without you doing anything that you love, you will regret it at the end of that. So does it happen often to you that Sunday passes away and you realize, oh, that's another weekend gone and I didn't do anything that I actually loved? If you try to do things this way, that you have something to look back at every weekend, you can ensure that you are going to live a life without regrets. Personally, for me, something I every weekend do for sure is record at least one video and upload it on my YouTube channel. And I always have something to look back at because I record it somewhere. I have a page on Notion. Notion is an app, in case you don't know, where you can record a lot of things. So I record my YouTube videos there. Wherever I have shot a YouTube video, it's there on my Notion template. If I watch a movie, I do record it on my Notion template. So you don't need to do any fancy thing. Even if you just write it down, it makes sure that you are doing what you love. So that way you will always have something to look back at. Right now, at the end of 2021, when I look back at my Notion app, I have some of the great movies that I watched this year, some of the great books that I read this year, some of the great web series or TV shows which I watched this year. So it just fills your mind with good things and positive mindset going forward. So definitely something to do. The next lesson that I learned this year was rereading is invaluable. It took me some time to actually start rereading books. I always felt that if you've read a book once, you have already spent a lot of time on it. Why do you need to read it again? But I have understood now that rereading is invaluable for two reasons. One, because when you read a book again, you are wiser. You have grown, at least if nothing by age, you have grown, you have become wiser. So there is a different perspective to look back whenever you read a book again. And the second reason is, it's a simple practical reason that it's impossible for anyone to completely understand a book in one read, because a book is quite long. It's not a essay or a paragraph that you just read it. It is heavy. It's around 200-300 pages, which has so many lessons for you. So you possibly cannot retain everything in one read. So reading, that's why, is invaluable. I believe if you just have 10-15 books which are immensely important to you and you read them again and again, they are going to really get inside your mind, and you will never forget the lessons which you learned that will help you throughout your life. The last lesson that I want to share is about numbers, and I want to say that numbers are a trap. And if you try to find happiness in numbers, I think that is a short way to always remain unhappy. What I mean by this is that numbers are most often than not going to disappoint you. And giving you an example for myself, I think a few years back or a few months back, whenever I used to upload a YouTube video, the same day I used to open the YouTube Studio app on my phone and look at what are the views, what are the comments on that video, and how many impressions it received, what was the watch time, and everything. And most often I used to get disappointed because the expectations never met the reality. And this difference between expectation and reality is really something which disappoints you, because as a creator, I put the same amount of work, the same effort in each and every video that I put out on YouTube, but the results will always differ. There will always be videos that will perform poorly, or maybe videos which perform much better than you expect. So it can really get to you if you feel that your videos are not doing as well as you expect, when in reality, if you have created a good piece of content, it should be enough. You don't need to care about what people are saying or how the video is performing, because that number does not define your effort. That number does not define the kind of creativity that you showed while preparing the video. So numbers are a trap. And again, I want to say that if your happiness depends on numbers, I think that is a short way in your life to remain unhappy forever. So these were just a few lessons, and 5 lessons which I wanted to share from 2021. I know it was a tough year for all of us, so I do wish for all of you to have a great 2022, and I also want to wish you Happy New Year through this video as it goes out on 1st Jan. So hope to have a great year ahead, and I will see you guys in the new year in the next video. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.